today I'm gonna convert this into this. So my buddy Paul asked me to do something for him, and that was make a diorama of something for his business. So this is what I did. Oh yeah, leave a comment down below to count how many times you see my bald spot. Let's go to the video. I got this Mack truck here. Let's convert it into a boom truck. First, I built the frame and the cab and all the inside pieces for the cab. How I made the toolboxes in the bed was some leftover foam board. So I measured and cut them and built the bed. Then I cut out the wheels. Primed the truck with some rattle can. Not the bed because the spray paint will melt it. So later I'm going to use that Mod Podge and some black paint. So for the frame over the cab, I used some leftover sprue, shaved them down into a nice pole, glued them together, put it all together, and now I'm marking out for the doors. The smaller doors are 5 centimeters by 2.5 centimeters. The big door was 5 centimeters by 4.5 centimeters, or 4 centimeters. Then I used the screen right here from a bag. Now let's prime this bad boy up with some Mod Podge and some black paint. And let's get ready to paint. I made a custom orange for this job. I mixed up some bright yellow and some red from a plaid. Thinned down, and now we're ready to put it through the airbrush. Right here it wasn't coming out, so I thinned it down a little bit more. Here we go. Bam. Now it's coming out perfect. So we're just locking it in. Trying to get it from all sides, making sure you, pretty much the first coat, you just want to give it a nice dusting, as you see right here. You see the black underneath it. So it was like 4 passes to completely cover the cab. And as you see, I'm just blasting it right in there. Now I'm going in a different direction, just trying to fill in that black. As you see, on one side it's completely covered, the other side's not. So now we're going to hit the front of the truck. Locking it right in there. There it is, 4 passes, and it's covered. But that's not it. We're gonna do the same with this bed. So the next day, this is why I'm showing you these colors. I had to mix up again. But this time I had some, just a little different yellow. The other stuff that I made, it was a little chunky and dry, so I left it out overnight. Oh, same thing, red, yellow, we're blasting it through. Let's lock in this bed. Right here, I'm just blasting that paint right out. Took some time painting this bad boy, I'm not gonna lie. Like the cab, took one night. This is another night. And here it is, I'm blasting this last coat. This is the 4th pass. And as you see, I'm just giving it all hell. You can see the difference as I'm blasting it. This right here, this is just one more pass before I do the sun bleaching. So right here, I'm blasting it, and I'm making sure that I complete my lines, overlapping them, making sure there's no mess ups, making sure that it looks smooth. You see right here. Now we're gonna go and use some of this jack-o'-lantern orange from Plaid. And this is where we're gonna do the sun bleaching and the fade effects. So right here, we're just locking it inside the panels, trying to keep the edges dark. Pretty much where the sun would hit it the most. You see right here. This is also another day. Now that looks pretty good. Everything's nice and smooth. And it has a nice fade. So here we go. We're going to do the same thing for the bed. Same thing. Trying to keep those panels showing some of that darker orange. My camera couldn't adjust right to the blue and the orange. So now we're going to go and hit this dash. We're just going to take a little bit of that orange and we're just going to take our brush and just pretty much base coat it so our paint will stick to it later. I made a custom hard hat and glued it onto the seat. And now I've just taken some normal craft paint and just priming it. Now, for the inside of the cab, we're going to use the Army Painter's Dungeon Gray. We're going to work on the seats. Do the dashboard. We're just going to do the part that's on the inside, not the top of the dashboard. Now we're going to go with Army Painter's gray primer. And now we're going to lock in that top to that dashboard. Locking that gray right in. just this gray primer is a little bit brighter, so I was thinking maybe it should be on top, and it was a perfect choice. It looks great. Now we're going to take that gray primer from Army Painter and we're going to do the centers of the seat for like wear and tear. And we're also going to do the center of the panels on the door. Here it is, the inside of the cab, seats with the wear and tear, and the door panels. With that gray primer. And that's how it would look together, and it looks great. So now we're going to hit the rims with that what we have left over in our brush, that gray primer from Army Painter. We're just gonna blast it in there. Just making a little highlighted spot right here on the rims, so I know what would be the top. Now we're gonna go back to that orange, and we're going to paint the outside panels on the doors so it actually blends a little bit better inside the cab. You can see right here, taking my time. Locking them right in, making it look the best. Let's make a chainsaw. Here's all the pieces I'll be using to make a chainsaw. Everything that's going into this project, and 2 random dudes from the dollar store. We pin washed the doors, and we painted some black for the rubber seal around the windows. And we glued everything together. Fully assembled. Did some rust. Painted these guys up. One like my buddy Paul, and the other guy like his helper. In the chainsaw, fully painted. Finally get to use my hot wire cutter. Right here I used 3 pieces of packing foam or extruded polystyrene and some MDF board. I already marked out how I want this diorama to look, so here we're gonna measure it out. So right here is 6 inches for the street. Right here is 1 inch for the shoulder going into the ditch. And 3 inches for the tree line. So I got this piece of foam right here, and I cut it out to size, and this is my template. As you see right here, it lines up nice and flush. So we put another piece underneath it, so it's a little bit longer. And as you see, my template's on top. I put a mark down it, and now we're going to cut it with the hot wire cut. I had a lot of fun using this hot wire cutter. Remember to shut it off when you're done. Now right here, I'm just placing the foam down so I can cut it to size. As you see right here, I'm placing this middle foam piece to the line going into the ditch. And then I'm going to use the MDF board as my guide to where I need to cut it. So I got it all lined up. I'm going to take my Sharpie and I'm going to mark it where the end of the MDF is. Going to do it on both sides. And the mark turned out to be 2 inches. So I know my ruler wasn't long enough, so I just guessed where the middle was and just marked in, 2 inches. So lined up those 2 marks, boom. As you see right here, I just scooted it right down. Perfect. So now we're going to cut these pieces out. Oops, I cut the wrong side. I accidentally cut the piece in half, but it's alright, because it's just going to be our base. So I'm lining it back up. Seeing how it's going to look. Always look something over before you start cutting. And right here, I knew I wanted to put a bevel in it. So I took my hot wire cutter and held it at a 45 degrees and started cutting. And I didn't care if it was straight. So I'm just, add to the effects. As you see right here, I beveled it. Did the same thing on the tree line side. As you see, it's not even. Now let's glue these down. I'm using Elmer's school glue or PVA glue and a fat brush. Let's pour some out and use the brush and smooth it out. Now how I'm setting this down is from edge to edge, from the edge of the board, squeezing it towards the middle, because if there's any glue, like a pile of glue, if it's going to squeeze out, it's going to squeeze out on my project, not on my table, because I don't want my piece glued to my table. So I got those placed down, and now I just needed to put some weight on it to hold it down. DVDs aren't heavy enough, so VHSs. And yes, I'm that old. And yes, I love Star Wars. Now we're going to repeat the same thing, but this time it's good to have a third hand. After we place these down, get them locked in, doing the same thing again, edge to edge. And after you get it placed in, it's good to have a third hand. This is what I'm saying right here. As you're squeezing it down, somebody else is putting those VHSs in place. And finally, for some extra weight, I used my D&D books across the VHSs to add a little bit more weight. And it's all placed now. I'm just adjusting the VHSs, and now it's good. Let it set for the night, and you're good in the morning. So the next night, for the telephone poles, I used some old drumsticks I had kicking around, and some woodsy dowels. I lost the footage, sorry about that. So here I hot glued the drumsticks in their spots and used joint compound or spackle, whatever you want to call it, to fill it in and add to snow effects. Now we're going to make some ice. We're going to use some Mod Podge, a plastic bag, and a small little applicator that has a tip to it, because you want to have nice control with these icicles. So as you see right here, I'm doing like upside down teardrops, make it a big puddle, and then kind of scraping along with it. Here it is, all sped up, all dry. This is something I did 2 nights before I was actually going to record it. It came out great. These were just testers. And look at them, completely dry, and they look like ice. Even the air bubbles in it are going to add to that effect. Alright, now we're going to place these little branches from the trees in place where the trees would be. These branches are real, and they look perfect for the trees that I wanted. So now we're going to run some lights. These lights are from the dollar store, or sorry, Family Dollar, and they're battery operated, which is a plus in my book. So we're gonna wrap that wire around, put some hot glue on it, get it nice and tight against the drumstick or the telephone pole. And now, since that's all dry, we're gonna go right to put some ice. I'm gonna grab some random pieces that look more like ice, and grab a little bit of super glue and our toothpick, and we're just gonna take a little bit on our toothpick, just a little dab, and we're gonna put it on the fat side of the icicle. And now we're gonna press it to where we want it. I'm trying to be super gentle so I don't break any more branches, because I have. Trying to do this. So I'm just squeezing it in place, letting that super glue do its thing, and there it is. Readjust it. And boom, there it is. just a little skim of what we just did. The icicles and all the snow effects and all that. Here I made tire marks on the spackle. Here's the test of the light, different angles. It's looking pretty good with a little bit of backlight. In the moment we all been waiting for. What do you think of that, Paul?
If you like these videos and tutorials, hit that subscribe button and the bell, and you'll get notified when I upload new videos.